Controversy has erupted and a war of words over phone calls that President Trump made to family members of fallen soldiers. It started with Congresswoman Frederica Wilson from Florida after she leaked words of a phone call that she said President Trump said to the widow of a Green Beret killed in action. John Kelly, former Marine Corps general, held a press conference on Thursday at the White House to address some things that the Congresswoman had said. Here's what he had to say.
It stuns me that a member of Congress would have listened in on that conversation. Absolutely stuns me. And I thought at least that was sacred.
Not letting this go, Congresswoman Frederica Wilson came back at the Chief of Staff, again bringing up the whole idea of what the President says, and in her words saying that it was insensitive and inappropriate. She is not backing down.
Let me tell you what my mother told me when I was little. She said, the dog can bark at the moon all night long, but it doesn't become an issue until the moon barks back.
And then it continues. Another widow of a soldier killed back in April in Afghanistan. She released a video, which was a recording of the phone call that President Trump made to her, saying that the president was appropriate and sensitive and the call had an impact.
I am so sorry to hear about the whole situation. What a horrible thing, except that he's an unbelievable hero. And, you know, all of the people that served with him are saying how incredible he was.
Yes, sir.
And just an amazing guy. And I he's a great hero.
I want to thank you, President Trump. Those words are very kind.
All right, let's break it down with our A-plus panel. We've got Bob Bianchi, former Morris County prosecutor. Always good to have you here, Bob. Thank you. Guys, just to start, it seems to me that Frederica Wilson has politicized the death of this Green Beret, and the words that the president used, we have heard used, and John Kelly said it, his son died. You're not discrediting them, you're honoring them and saying they're heroes. What do you say?
This whole thing sickens me, and I disagree with the premise of the question. She did not, the Congresswoman, start this. This was started based upon a reporter's question about what happened to those 4 soldiers because the White House was silent, and President Trump, with all due respect, turned that into how no other president does it like he does it, which started this firestorm. We should not be politicizing
So, Laura,
this.
you've got, Bob just said that because the president discussed former presidents, this Congresswoman had a right to take words out of context, leak it to the press, and create a firestorm over the dead body of a Green Beret.
Here's the
Disgusting.
Thing, Bill.
That's exactly what you said.
I don't know if she took it out of context because I haven't heard the tape. If she did, then I think that's problematic. But if she didn't, she had every right to speak up for friends that she thought were mistreated. And the fact that the Trump administration is taking this and just beating it to death over and over, they are the ones that are politicizing it. All she did was bring up something that bothered her.
What do you say, Andre? I mean, I know that you don't have anything nice to say about President Trump, but it's very hard to sit and criticize a man in John Kelly who lost his own son and then came out there. Nobody's going to make you come out there and talk about your dead son.
Well, his sequence of events is inaccurate. Bob is right. The president did politicize it first. Representative Wilson actually came back yesterday or this morning and said she doesn't want this to be about her. She wants to know, why was Sergeant Johnson separated from his crew? Why was there faulty intelligence that we didn't know ISIS was on the ground in Africa? Why was the vehicle unarmored? These are the questions that need to be answered.
To be fair, these questions have not been answered. We don't have actual intelligence that has come out. We only have speculation and rumor. And we're now, in all the tweets today and through this week, it seems to me like we've gone way beyond the phone call. Now we're questioning the president's policy and the action of our military. These are 2 separate issues, but we've got to leave it there. Thanks. Coming up, giant online retailer Amazon looking for a second world headquarters to put somewhere in the United States. There are at least 50 cities bidding for it. New York City, one of them. However, Mayor Bill de Blasio, after a big display in New York, decided that I don't think he's that much in favor of Amazon coming. Actually came out and talked about how Amazon could hurt small shops and small retailers. So the question is Mayor Bill de Blasio standing in the way of 50,000 potential jobs in New York City. Let's bring in our A-plus panel to break this down. We've got Bob Bianchi, former Morris County prosecutor. Always good to have you here, Bob. Thank you. Laura Nanos, columnist for lawnews.com and an attorney. And Andre Richardson, political strategist. Andre, I'm going to start with you. You're a Democrat. Why does Mayor de Blasio hate Amazon?
I don't know if he hates Amazon. I think New York City is one of the most multifarious and diverse economies in all of the world. So the attraction and lure is already there. What he did last night in terms of saying he doesn't want Amazon there was an interesting take and looks like somebody who might be seeking higher office once his second term is over.
Laura, let me ask you, could this go down as one of the dumbest political things that we've heard a politician say? And that's saying something. If you hire 50,000 people, those retail shops are going to expand. Everybody in New York City has access to Amazon on the internet.
I don't know that it's the stupidest thing because I think that words of support for small businesses resonate with people. I come from a background of many small business owners, and I get what he's saying. I also think it's very difficult to hate Amazon, but it's easy for him to say, hey, don't forget to support small business.
Is this a dangerous and unsettling trend among leading Democratic politicians? Not only now you have de Blasio attacking Amazon, but Phil Murphy basically making it impossible for Amazon to come to New Jersey if they literally have to build the light rail to come here.
Here we go. We're connecting
Why
now.
do they hate jobs?
We're connecting de Blasio's thing, which I agree with you. I think is ridiculous because it provides an economic engine to those small businesses. But to connect that to Phil Murphy now is completely different. Phil Murphy was saying that he wants to make sure that New Jersey gets something in addition to those jobs, and he wants to negotiate as much as he can for the economic engine of New Jersey.
Andre, in terms of this, in a very real sense, you're talking about 50,000 jobs. You would think that everybody would be jumping over themselves to get these jobs, because when you're talking about working class and middle class families, they don't care about Phil Murphy and his wealth and de Blasio and his wealth or whatever office they want to run for. Isn't it just about jobs? And shouldn't these guys as civic leaders be doing everything possible to get those jobs in?
Well, I think what Phil Murphy says, he wants to take a look at the tax credits. That's the first thing. There's also a component of driving housing stock up. The 50,000 number is a number on paper. We don't know how many jobs are going to be transferred from Seattle. So that's the first thing. The number's not entirely accurate. This can also increase the component of gentrification in a city like Newark that's been facing it for the last 10 years or so.
Don't you think Newark is desperate for something like this? They're solving the crime problem. They're almost there. You got Phil Murphy and Bill de Blasio. To me, it sounds like doing everything they can to push back. This is not the time to push back. This is the time to pull them in.
Politicians can't just say, oh, well, it sounds good, and then not look into any of the fallout, not look into what it means. So I think it's smart to be maybe hesitant on these things, really look into it.
But, Andre, weren't you a little surprised? I mean, Ras Baraka is out in left field. I think he's doing a great job, honestly, as mayor of Newark. Cory Booker is certainly to his left and left a mess for Ras Baraka to clean up, which he's doing. But then you had Cory Booker, Ras Baraka, and Chris Christie. I mean, opposite ends of the political spectrum all coming together saying, this is a good deal. We worked it out. And it's a multi-billion-dollar net gain for the state of New Jersey. Same thing could have happened in New York.
Right. And I mean, they showed in the press conference that they're absolutely vying for the bid. Now, if you look at the model in Seattle, you'll see that there's been a housing problem there. There's been a gentrification problem. The wealth gap has increased significantly in Seattle, and Newark doesn't want to face that same problem.
You know what? If Phil Murphy gets elected and raises the minimum wage to $15, then I come here anyway. Won't matter.